Good morning.
I know it's not just me and you in here, right?
I hope there's more people in here.
Good morning, sunshine. And how we do it on this fine and glorious
Good
day.
morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, gang.
Can anybody tell me the name of that song? I know we've played it before. What's the name of that song?
That's from the movie 8 Mile. I don't know if the title of the song is.
I want to say
called-
I want to say it's lost.
No, it's called Lose Yourself.
Oh, lose yourself. Okay, I knew someone losing.
It's a song that he wrote about how he got started in the music business, being from a different culture traditionally from the traditional rappers back in the day, and he got one shot to get his chance to flow. It was an opportunity of a lifetime. And at the end of that song, he asked, if you got that one shot, would you take it? And this speaker today and I were talking about this the other day. And, it's amazing how many people have an opportunity of a lifetime and don't seize it, and the opportunity that we have now, it couldn't be better. I've been doing this for 27 years, almost as long as Michael's been alive. I should think, no, it's 28. I lost my count. I've been in the business 28 years. Can you believe that? 28 years, man. It seems like yesterday, 1994. And, it was an opportunity of a lifetime. And, all of us have had those moments, and Eminem sees he had 30 seconds to impress Dr. Dre. You guys ever heard of the famous Dr. Dre from the old NWA crew? He had 30 seconds. He seized the opportunity, and look what happened. He's actually considered one of the greatest, rappers of all time, and who would ever have thought, from, where he came from, that would happen. And he seized the opportunity, and that song talks about that. And right now, I feel that opportunity that we have, where we are now is 2022. It's almost the end of August. There's a lot of opportunity. And my whole purpose of these meetings, my whole purpose is what I'm about, is to pay it forward to everyone in our organization and have them be in a position where we can change their life for the better and leave a legacy. So our guest speaker is going to talk about that. So there's going to be, discussing, where are we going to be in the next 2-3 years? Where's your family going to be? How this opportunity is going to impact your life. And as agency directors and leaders on this call, every one of you guys are leaders in this great organization we've developed, and our people are looking to us to guide them and help them reach their ultimate level of success. So it's going to be a great meeting today. Jeremie's awesome. I mean, almost too humble. It's like, most integrity partners are, very confident, very upbeat, very proud of their accomplishments. And Jeremie's very, very humble, more humble than I expected. And that, I think, was what makes him so special. So let's go ahead and roll up the next slide, Michael. We're going to go ahead and get into the heart of the meeting this morning. Are you guys fired up and excited? Come on now. Are you guys fired? Hey, happy Friday. Yeah. Are you fired up and excited?
Yeah.
Fired up and excited.
Come on, you guys got to bring some passion, man. You're leaders in your community. You're leaders in this industry. We got some of the best team leaders in the industry of Medicare Advantage on this call. You guys are the best of the best. You got to claim it. You got to own it. You got to have that passion. You got to be fired up, excited, turned on. You guys ready?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Come on now. Come on.
Ready to rock
Let's
and
go.
roll.
I'm ready, and I'm looking forward to
All right,
next
have
week.
your pens ready, because you're in for a treat. Please make sure you take a lot of notes. A lot, so to doing your laundry or taking a part of. This is part of the Integrity Marketing Group and Global Premier Benefits Leaders in Action series. It's about bringing some of the best in the integrity organization to give you guys their secret sauce, they're gold nuggets to success. Let's go and roll the next slide out, Michael. Mike, I thought we had an awesome video to show. Didn't we have an awesome video?
I included that in the email. You want me to pull it
Oh,
up?
you did. That's right. Because it was a nice. Can you clip it real quick and just show it real quick, so just in case those that watch that, just 2 seconds of it, maybe 3 seconds of it. Can you show that real quick?
I can do that.
Just as a cool intro. You gotta have an intro, right? Gotta have an intro. I mean, we start with that great song. We gotta have an intro to Jeremie.
Out of Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Yep.
We met like 7 years ago, and I'm telling you what, you don't know this at the time, but when we were starting Secure Insurance Group, February of 14, and I was a brand new to the independent world.
Huh?
Dude, I idolized you, okay? Not in a weird way, but I was looking up to, because literally we went to talk to Eldercare, and I'm like, man, this dude is doing something crazy special, because the office was like highlighting you as like the sales guru, right?
Okay.
Were you always good at sales? Or it came natural, or like what made you so good so quick?
Oh, I didn't know I was good, so thanks for that. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it. I've always been in sales. I took my first sales job when I was 13. I was that kid on Saturday that was trying to sell $8 peanut clusters, in the neighborhood.
Yes.
And so I love sales. I love helping people, and really, you're probably giving me a little too much credit because we're selling a product that people need. And so I think that if you're out there and you're doing what's best for the customer, it just comes natural.
So you think anybody can do this?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, rocket scientist, insurance, neither one of us are smart enough, so we would have to go sell insurance.
Yeah.
How old are you now?
42.
42, doesn't look 42. When you said you had a 16-year-old, I'm like, there's no way.
Yep.
I don't believe you. That's crazy. He looks crazy good for 42. Okay, so how long have you been in the business? When did you start?
I started in the business August of 2001. So I had my 20-year anniversary last month.
Dude,
Yeah.
Congrats, man. We're releasing this for his 20-year
Michael.
anniversary.
Awesome,
I love that.
Michael. Hey, I appreciate that, guys. That was sent out to you guys in last night's email about today's meeting. If you get a chance, please watch that again. Michael, can you send that in the chat just in case you guys missed out on it? But it's a great a video about Jeremie, what he's accomplished in his career. Jeremie Pielemeier is an awesome man, big time family man, very, very humble, man. When I asked him to put his bio together, he kept it simple. Family man, loves this business, loves helping people. But what I think, what makes Jeremie extra special, he's really in tune to sales training, and developing his team to be successful. He averages, and like he said this very, very humbly. I said, what kind of production you do, Jeremie? And he's like, about 70 million average per year. I'm like, that's it? 70 million a year on average. And he didn't want to take any credit. He goes, really, it comes down to my team. The team is what makes it happen. I'm just a part of that team. They deserve all the credit. And he's personally recruited and developed over 4,000 agents. And he's going to talk to you guys today on this call. As you guys, like I said earlier, team leaders. I know some people are, need to find out, how do I take this to the next level? What do I need to go from, say, 25 agents to, say, 50 agents, this year, or go from 50, say, to 150? What do I got to do? What do I got to do to help, find the right people, find those people that are motivated and excited? What do I got to do to get them trained up, because training's a big part of this. I mean, that's something we talked about, and even John Gordine is stressing a lot lately. We've had many calls about that, is getting people productive, getting people to understand the product, getting people, to be active, to be productive, and ultimately help these people make money, help them make sales, help them be able to take care of their family, help them then leave a legacy. Because this sales leadership is really all about paying it forward to the people that are following you. Because everyone on this call, you wouldn't be in a leadership position unless you were good at what you did. That's why you're GA, MGA, SGA. That's why you're there. You're good at sales. You're good at, turning the no's into yeses. You're good at developing relationships and networking and prospecting. You're really good at, taking care of your clients and making money as a salesperson. It's just getting other people to do the same. So Jeremie's going to talk about that today. Let's give it up to a living legend in the business. Give it up for Jeremie Pielemeier. Hopefully I said that right, Jeremie. Did I say your last name correctly? Jeremie? He might be on mute, Jeremie.
Yeah, no, for all the hype you just gave me, I didn't even have my microphone off mute. So it's Pielemeier, but you did really good on it. Thanks for the introduction.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Well,
I like how you spell your name, Jeremie. My son's Jeremie too, but you have a very unique way of spelling Jeremie. I like that.
Well, I think my mom wanted a girl actually, and so that's why I did it. So, good morning, everyone. Hey, I know that everybody is in a different spot this morning. Some folks might be in appointments or getting ready for recruiting calls, but I always tell people, to or encourage people to turn those cameras on. So I love to see smiling faces. If you're in a position where you can turn your camera on, flip that on. I feel like there we go. Hey, Tony, I feel like cameras on means you're engaged, and I know everybody's busy. So what I want to ask is that you really listen up, because I'll tell you that I'm on this call today because Tony asked me to jump on and help you out. I don't need to hear what I'm going to say. This is for you guys, but I'm super excited to have the opportunity to jump on. Tony, I think that I would be money ahead if I could buy myself for what I'm worth and then sell me for what you just pitched me at. I think I could make a huge profit. I haven't seen that Cody Askins video in a long time. So it was kind of a throwback, but yeah, so I spent some time on the phone with Tony talking through this group and you guys as leaders. And it's really impressive what you guys as a group collectively have been able to do. But I wanted to talk with you a little bit today about this opportunity that exists every day when you make the choice of your success or ultimately your failure. And one of the things that makes this message hard is that people don't want to hear about failure. So when they do talk failure, they also want to have someone to blame this on, right? That I didn't succeed because my leads weren't good, or I didn't succeed because I didn't have products. And I think that one of the key things to building a tremendous leader is this idea that we can take ownership for our failures, which means we can take ownership for our successes. And the song Lose Yourself was played a while ago by Tony, and I shared with him this message that I'm stealing from Tom Dempsey, who is our Chief Operating Officer at Integrity. I heard Tom share this, and I thought it was really amazing and impactful because we can all relate to Eminem if we're in this 30 to 50 age group. And what he says in the beginning of this song, and as Tony pointed out, kind of the whole piece around the song is this opportunity. And he asks a question in the beginning. You got to be listening close. He says, if you had one shot, one opportunity to seize everything that you've ever wanted, would you capture that, or would you let it slip? Right. And what we don't realize as leaders, as individuals, moms, dads, sales guys, sales girls, is that we are making that choice every single day. We're making that choice when we sleep an extra hour. We're making that choice whenever we choose to, mow our yard instead of make a sale. And I'm not here to tell you that you should be working 70 hours a week. That's not for me to decide. I can tell you that regardless of what you do and the choices that you make, I'm going to bust it every day because I don't want to miss the opportunity, and because I want to have a legacy for my kids. So I want to talk about a couple of things today. First off, if you got a pen or if you've got a good memory, I want to throw a name out to you. Okay. And you can't Google this, so don't cheat. But I want to throw a name out of a guy that should be a household name. Okay. His name he's still alive. His name is Ronald Wayne. So just take that for a second, set it aside, because we're going to talk about Ronald Wayne in just a second. But I also want to outline what I think as leaders, as moms, dads, individuals that we should be thinking about every day. All right. Number one is this opportunity. Number two is the legacy that we leave. Guys, I have three kids. One in the video, she was 16. I got one 17-year-old. I got one 13-year-old and a 10-year-old. And at the end of the day, how much money I make, how big my house is not the legacy that I'm going to leave my kid, or kids rather. That legacy is going to be how I treated people. But most importantly, like, what did they see me do? Everybody who has kids knows that kids learn by observing, right? It's crazy how much kids take in. But one thing people don't think about is like the one thing that kids need more than anything when they go into the world, unless you want them living with you for the rest of their lives, is a work ethic, right? This idea that their job every day, no matter what, no matter if their hot water heater busts, if a friend needs a ride, like they have a job and an obligation to people to go to work. And they learn from what dad does, right? So if dad is at home at 10:30 in his pajamas because he hasn't gotten up, gotten ready for the day, put the coat on, and been ready to seize this opportunity, then my kids are learning from me. The legacy that I'm leaving is work's not important, right? And so I think that you need to think about that every day when you make choices, is someone's watching. And that someone may not be your kids if they're not at home or you don't have any, but that someone might be the agent that you're trying to recruit, or that agent that you have recruited. And one of the things that I heard Tony say is that I give a lot of credit to my team, and my team is why I'm successful. Like, no quarterback wins the Super Bowl without an amazing team around them. But one thing my team knows is that I'll do anything that is needed for the success of our group. And so I really want you guys to think about this opportunity that's in front of you. And I want to share with you someone that missed an opportunity. So we talked about Ronald Wayne, right? And actually, let me take a step back. So Tony has shared with me that you guys are amazing sales leaders. Some of you might have, 10 agents, 100 agents, whatever that number is. This message doesn't change. And here's the deal. We don't need to talk about leads. Okay. We don't need to talk about products. Tony told me that there's this incentive that you guys have for $1,000. Tony, if I get this wrong, you stop me, but $1,000 to recruit an agent that writes 10 apps. And I thought, this dude's crazy. Like, our marketers at our organization are recruiting 15 agents per week. That's what's required. That's what we need them to do in order to build the business that we're all striving to build. And honestly, I don't want my marketers to know that there's this incentive out there like that. But to me, that's nuts. Like, if that opportunity was given to me, $1,000 for every agent I recruited, I would be at McDonald's. That's a tremendous amount of money. And so Tony, I don't know if you're just incredibly generous and you're trying to, like you said earlier, pay it forward, or if maybe you misspoke and Michael should have made that a 100 and accidentally put out 1,000 and you had to go with it. But either way, I imagine with an incentive like that, you have people on this call that aren't getting any sleep because they're working so hard to accomplish that. But with regard to incentives, leads, products, all of the things that we need to be successful, none of them matter if you don't work, right? And I always tell people when agents come in and they're like, my leads suck. Like, no, that's not the case. Like, you give me your leads, I'll crush them. Selling is about getting out and working hard. And so this message now isn't about your leads or about your products or what the overrides are on MAs. None of that matters, because the reality is your commission could be 100%. Your bonus could be $5,000. It could be $10,000. And we've learned over time that sometimes bonuses don't matter. Incentives don't drive people. They're just not going to work no matter what you throw out in front of them. And so the choice has to happen every day from you, right? Not the circumstances around you. I have a family. I want to leave a legacy. I'm going to succeed no matter what, right? No matter what that is, no one is going to stand in the way of my success. And I make that choice. And once you understand that success is on you, you have to accept that failure is owned by you as well. If you're not where you want to be today, there is only one person that you can blame that on, right? It's not my fault. It's not Tony's fault. It doesn't mean that as leaders, we shouldn't strive every single day to do better, to give more, and to give back. But There are a lot of people who have done a lot more than I've done with less. And there are a lot of people out there that have a lot more that won't do as much as you because they're just choosing not to. So let's go back to Ronald Wayne. Let's talk about the ultimate missed opportunity. So most of you have one of these, right? This is an Apple phone or an iPhone. And to me, I got to clean this up on the back. This is the most iconic logo that's out there for any company. It's the Apple, right? I'd love to know more about why there's a bite missing. I'm sure there's some reason, but Ronald Wayne can answer that question for you. Because in 1976, what you don't know about Apple, unless you Googled this, and if you did, you cheated because you weren't supposed to, is there were actually 3 partners in this little company called Apple. So if we rewind just a little bit, I'm going to really date any of us on this call. There was once a company called Atari, and it was really one of the first video game consoles. And Ronald Wayne, Steve Jobs, and Steve Wozniak worked at Atari. They got to know each other and created a friendship. And they went separate ways for a little bit. Ronald Wayne went out and he started a vending or a slot machine company that failed miserably. And Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs decided they wanted to form a company called Apple. And so in 1976, April 12th, 1976, they wanted to bring Ronald Wayne in the mix. And so the idea was they really loved Ronald Wayne's ability to solve problems. They trusted him. And so they were concerned that if it was a 50-50 partnership, meaning Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak had 50% of Apple, that they might not be able to resolve their differences. So their solution was to reach out to a friend in Ronald Wayne. And here's what their deal was. They will give Ronald Wayne 10% of the Apple Corporation if he will handle legal counsel, but more importantly, be the tiebreaker anytime that there's a conflict that can't be resolved. So on April 12th, 1976, a contract was drawn up where Ronald Wayne, who accepted this position as 10% owner, was going to be one of the 3 partners of what we all know today as the most valuable company in the world, almost $3 trillion. So the ownership structure was 45% Steve Jobs, 45% Steve Wozniak, and 10% Ronald Wayne, which looking back, you might be like, this guy has got to be one of the richest people in the world. I mean, imagine owning 10% of Apple today. I would love to own 1/10 of 1% of Apple today. So one of the problems that Ronald Wayne had is he's coming off of a failed business. And his wife was either pregnant or just had a baby, and she wanted him to get a real job. I'm going to go back to this logo because one of the things that might get lost in history is that Ronald Wayne created this logo. It was one of the very first things that he did. So it was his brainchild. But about 12 days into the partnership, he got to a point where his wife just said, this isn't going to work. We have to get you a real job. We can't have you a part of another failed business venture. And so you got to get out. So he went to his other 2 partners, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, and he said, I got to get out. I can't be a part of this organization. I need to get a real job. So I would love to be in person right now so I could get people to call out how much you think he sold 10% of his Apple shares for. And we can't do that. So I'll tell you the answer is $800, which probably was a lot of money in 1976. With today's inflation, I'm sure it's several $1,000s. But if he had stayed a 10% owner, his value in the company would be $200 billion, right? Billion with a B. So I'm going to say again, $200 billion. You think of the richest man in the world is Elon Musk. And I can't Google right now because I'll screw my screens up. But I would be willing to bet that Ronald Wayne would have to be in the top 5 richest people in the world had he not missed that opportunity. His net worth today is $400,000. That is a tremendous swing and a missed opportunity. To me, the only other person in the history of the world that probably has more regret is the person that was originally the Beatles drummer before he got kicked out of the band and Ringo Starr took over. And so when you think about this opportunity, I can say with a certain level of confidence that I probably will never own 10% of Apple or a company that size. Chances are my net worth won't be $200 billion, regardless of how hard I work. But I can tell you that America is an amazing place because we have the opportunity every single day to change our lives, to change the lives around us, to set example for family, the staff we work with, the people we care about. And we're making those decisions today. I don't care what you do today. It's not going to change what I do. But we need to be thinking about this idea of like, who are we every day when we go to work? Are we somebody that has this opportunity in front of us that is so big, so huge, and we are doing everything we can do to take advantage of it? Or are we just going through life every day with this idea that somebody owes us something, right? And that's a huge, huge piece of failure, is this idea that I deserve more and I'm not getting it, so I'm going to sit back and not work as hard. Look, I look around at people that do jobs. I sit in an air-conditioned office. Most of the time I come home from work smelling the same way I left. And when you look at people that live in this country that work so hard every single day, that probably deserve so much more than I deserve. But for whatever reason, I had this opportunity. Based on what Tony's told me and the opportunity that you guys have, you're all in that same position. You guys are all in a spot where you have tremendous resources. I'm sure Tony has shared, and every one of you are aware of what this integrity partnership has done as far as a lift to all of our businesses and the things that we can offer to agents that no one else in the industry can offer, whether it's Medicare Center, Lead Center. We have hitched our wagon to an organization that has created such an opportunity for us to recruit that we at our office are standing at the top of the highest mountain, and we are telling every single person that we can how amazing this opportunity is. And so, Tony, I'm super thankful that you gave me the opportunity to jump in. I heard you say earlier that you try to get the best people you can on these calls. And so I wonder how many people didn't answer before you called me. But I think the takeaway for each and every one of you guys, if it's me, is this. Like, it's really easy. Take a step back and take a look at what you're doing right now. Like, how successful are you? What are you accomplishing? What are your goals? And then be honest with yourself. Like, what am I doing that might be stopping me from being as good as I can be? What am I doing really well? And let's do that a little bit better. My daughter, I love to talk about my daughter. She is an amazing athlete. If anyone thinks I have a tremendous work ethic, I'll tell you that I'm humbled every day by my 17-year-old who's a runner, and I'm so proud of her. She set the all-time Arkansas state record for the mile. So she is the fastest girl in the history of the state of Arkansas to ever run in high school. Top 25 in the nation. This kid works harder than anybody I've ever met, not just in this industry, but just in life. And I was walking out to go to my car today, and she always writes these little Post-it notes, and she sticks them in random places. And I wish I had taken a picture because I'm going to screw up what she wrote. But it caught my eye because I walked by, and I'm always kind of looking to see, what's in the car. Is everything locked? And so I see this little Post-it note this morning for the first time, and it says, "Failure is the feedback that champions eat so they can win the next game." And when you think about that, and you think about failure, where we fail as leaders, as professionals, that's where we really learn. Like, that's where we have this opportunity to get back up. When we have that bad week and we recruited 2 people, if we can step back and we can say, you know what, I recruited 2 people this week because I didn't do a good job. Like, the real assessment of what's going on. I recruited 2 people because I only worked Thursday and Friday. Like, I worked part-time. I had part-time results. that's when we can step back and we can look at this failure and we can say, man, here's how I improve. And that's what makes every day so amazing. So Eminem had one shot, as Tony said, he had one opportunity, 30 seconds with Dr. Dre to sort of write his ticket or punch his ticket. The amazing thing is that you guys have every single day, like every day when you wake up, you're going to make a choice. You made a choice today. You made a choice to do this call from your bed, or you made a choice to do this call from the gym because you didn't go till 9 o'clock when you should have gone at 5:30. You made a choice to do this when you're out doing whatever you want to do. But we have to just accept the fact that when we choose not to be working, when we choose not to be hustling, when we choose not to take advantage of the opportunity that we have, we are choosing to not make money and not grow our business. And there's a choice in everything in life. There's a give and a take. But when we can be realistic about what our choices are and what the consequences or benefits of those choices are as leaders, that's when we're going to step up and be amazing. So, Tony, thanks for your time. I really appreciate it. Hopefully, nobody's instant messaged you and said, hey, we're never having this guy back on. If you want me to stop for a few minutes and take some calls or questions, I can. I'll turn it over to you and you let me know.
Hey, great job. Great job. I really appreciate what you shared. Can you, are you open for a few questions? I know you're on, you have a lot on your plate. You're very busy. I want to thank you, Jeremie, for what you shared. Some really good nuggets there. Are you open for some questions?
Yeah, I got whatever time you guys need.
All right, Michael, let's go ahead and shoot off some questions real quick. So
I have a request.
go ahead.
One more time, would you say that what your daughter wrote on her note?
I'm going to get the exact thing and I'll actually take a picture of the Post-it note. But I think that the message that was on there was failure is the feedback. Let me do this. Yeah. Let me get her to shoot a picture, and Tony, I'll have her take a picture of the Post-it note, and then you can just shoot it out to your group so everybody has it.
That'd be great. I'm
going to shoot her a quick text and ask her to send me a picture of that while you're asking me a question.
Got it.
That was awesome.
Okay. Other questions. Great question there. Go ahead, Michael.
I don't see any in the chat, but you guys, there's plenty of people on this call with microphones. Feel free to unmute yourselves or type it in the chat. This guy's a wealth of knowledge, and I would hate for the meeting to run through and you don't think of anything that you want to pull out of this man's experience.
And, listen, I love, Michael, that you said that. And I'll tell you the same thing that I told Tony. I'm high school educated. I didn't go to college. And I think that I love, like, that you say I'm a wealth of knowledge, and thanks for that. And, the introduction I got from Tony as well, and Cody Askins, like, it's really flattering and great. But the reality is that I don't know how many people are on this call. I'm probably not in the top 10 of even folks on here that, like, everybody on here is smarter than I am, right? Or most people. I just work really hard. I see that the thing about our business that's really unique that I think people have a hard time grasping is that, and I'm just going to make up a number because I don't know the numbers for each individual here. But if your job today is to recruit an agent, and we'll use the 10 apps, right? And let's just, for simple math, say that you make, and I have no idea, I'm throwing out simple math. Say that you make $5 on an app that an agent writes. And so if you recruit 10 agents today or this week, and you make $50 on those 10 apps up front, right? Then in theory, when those 10 apps renew, you're going to make $50 next time, and then $50 next time, and $50 next time. And so I think what's missed with folks is that when people think like, hey, I'm going to miss work today, and I'm not going to make a sale that pays me X amount of dollars. So they think, well, I'm just going to miss work and it's going to cost me $50. Well, it's really not. It's going to cost you $50 every single month for the rest of your life, or as long as you're in this profession. It's going to cost you what that renewal is every single time that policy is set to renew for however long it is going to renew. And then when you think about how many days did you miss this week? How many days did you miss this month, this year, in the last 10 years? And when you start to compound that it could potentially be $50 a day and you missed 100 days and you've done that for 5 years, this is a type of money that changes people's lives. And I don't want to look back one day when I'm ready to retire at whatever age and be like, man, if I had just worked a little harder when I was in my 40s, I could be retired right now. My goal is to work hard now so I can not work hard later. Like, not the opposite. It doesn't work that way. And unfortunately, we live in a society today where people clamor to this idea that we can do less and make more. No, the reality is if you work part-time, you should expect part-time money. I mean, it's that simple. Work full-time and you should make full-time money, but we have to make that choice every day. And you know, we do these things here where sometimes we'll reach out to agents and we'll say, what are you doing right now? Like, it could be Wednesday at 10 a.m. What are you doing right now? And I think that, you know, maybe your Post-it note shouldn't be what my daughter's is, but guys, maybe your Post-it note should be, what are you doing right now? And is it helping to grow your business and help the people around you grow? Because that's what leaders do. Like, leaders don't not work.
So, Jeremy, I have a question because we have 3 things we teach our team leaders on this call, what their key focuses are, because it's easy to get distracted in this business. It's easy to go off in multiple directions. The key thing is about being focused. The 3 most important things that we need to focus on, one is recruiting. If you're going to build a team, you have to recruit. It's no different than building a successful sports franchise. You have to do the draft. You got to find quality talent on your team. That's got to be first and foremost. Okay. And then you got to train them. Okay. You got to train them up and show them how it's done. And then thirdly, you got to get them making sales so they can take care of their family. Can you address that in terms of how you make those, you know, simply how you make those 3 things happen in your organization?
Yeah. So I think that, and Tony, I'm going to go back to what I said, and I'm not trying to dodge the question, but I just want to make sure we level set and set an expectation that everybody can take away, is that no matter what I say we do with our staff, if people don't go to work, like, go to work. Go to work is the most important thing. Like, that's what we were called to do. Every day, Monday through Friday, we go to work. And so I think that we need to start with that and really drive that message to our agents and our staff, which is what we do, is that doesn't matter how, you know, golden your tongue is. If you're not giving that message, it doesn't matter. And so from our perspective, I think we really want to be consistent. I told you that our goal for our marketers is 15 contracts per week, 60 a month. And so we monitor that. And in order to get 15, you've got to be at work. So you come in, and then when you're at work, you got to make the calls, right? Because being at work and watching YouTube videos, you may as well just be at home in your pajamas, saving everybody time. So I think that we've got to be at work. We've got to be efficient with work. And look, we tell our leadership and our staff, I'm a realist. I don't ask anybody to do anything I won't do. Like, just give me 100% effort 70% of the time. And what I mean by that is I know that when you step foot in my office, when you step foot in your car to sell, when you're in a house, that your husband's going to call, your wife's going to call, you're going to get a funny TikTok video, you're going to want to check your stock account. There are things through the course of the day that no matter how good of a leader you are, or how hard you work, you just do. You check Facebook, you check the picture you posted of your kids, you want to know who commented on that. So you stop and you check that. So what we say is, like, we expect 25%, 30% of your day being going to break, using the bathroom, checking your Facebook, whatever it is. But if we can get you to give us 100% effort, 75% of the time that you're here, we're all going to crush, and we're going to grow our business in a huge, huge way. So I think, to answer your question on those 3 pieces, like, be consistent, work hard, and do it the right way.
Okay. Great stuff, Jeremy. Specifically in terms of sales training, how do you get your guys up and pro? You got a brand new agent. He's excited. He loves what's going on at Global, loves all the great incentives, loves integrity. He's got a contract. Now getting that person to make sales. What do you teach your teams to do to get them productive?
So we subscribe to this idea that it doesn't matter how hard we push or how many times we ask. If the agent doesn't know how to do it, they can't. And so to your point, we're really heavy on sales training. These are weekly webinars, on-demand webinars. So anything that we've ever trained on in the past can be or is archived and can be found, reused. We do one-on-one training. I've got one of our key leaders on your call somewhere. His name is Robert Sterling, a tremendous leader, does an amazing job. He's probably the best sales guy I've ever come across. Robert gets on the phone. He gets face to face. He asks agents to give their pitch, and he trains with scripts and all these things so that we can, take the information we know and we can push it out. If we're giving an agent a contract and we're giving them great comp and they're going out and they're doing it the wrong way, meaning they don't know how to make that sale, then it's just a waste of everybody's time. And ultimately that agent gets discouraged and quits, this gig. What we need is an agent to take an app out of the gate first 5 days. Like, we want that agent to get out there and make a sale and feel that level of excitement. Real quick, but I do want to say this because I just thought about it when you asked that question. One thing that a lot of people don't know about me, and you guys don't, is that I almost am not sitting here today. When I started in 2001, I came from a place where we had a different sales system, and I had always sold my whole life, but I never sold to the senior market, which is completely different. The energy can't be as high. It's just a different clientele. And so for those of you who can relate to this, I started working lead cards up and down, the hot summer roads of Arkansas. Gas isn't the cost that it is today, but it was certainly expensive for a 21-year-old kid. But I went into houses for 2 weeks. And in this 2-week period, I did not sell a single sale. Pitch after pitch, no sale, no sale. They said no. And so I went into a house in a little town called Bismarck, and I pitched a lady I could save her $50 a month. And she said no. Out of desperation, frustration, whatever you want to call it, I just said, listen, if you'll take this policy today, I will pay for it. I will pay the premium. And let me say a couple things. Number one, you can't do that. I don't think it's legal. Number two, I did not have the money. If she had said yes, I would have said, I can't afford the $112.87 that the premium for the med sup was. But I said it because I was so desperate. I just needed someone to say yes. And it was it was kind of this Hail Mary, like last ditch effort for me. And she said no. And I remember getting in my Jeep Wrangler, driving down the road. And if anybody's ever been so mad that they're in tears, I'm literally banging on my steering wheel. And I'm like, I can't give this stuff away. Like, I'm offering it for free and people won't take it. This is not the job for me. And so I let my, at the time, girlfriend, now wife, know that, like, I'm quitting. This job sucks. I'm never going to make it as an insurance salesman. And so her dad was my manager. And so I said, you cannot tell your dad. He'll talk me out of it. I'm going to wait until the office is closed, and I'm going to slide in. I'm going to turn all my crap in. I'm turning the page. This is the worst decision I ever made. And so I waited. The office was closed. I showed up. The lights were off, and he was waiting on me. Laura had called him and told him what my plan was. And so he caught me in there, and we talked for however long it was. And we made a couple of adjustments in my presentation. And I went on to break every record that ever existed from an individual producer at Elder Care. I was the first producer to write $500,000 in new business back in a day when, premiums were $110. And so I think it's really important for us as leaders to understand that I'm successful today because I had a tremendous leader that invested in me. And when I was ready to give up, he wasn't ready to let me give up. And so I think that we need to identify this, and we have a simple solution, Tony, that Robert, who's on the call, knows is like, it's really, really simple. And I said earlier, I'm not the smartest guy on the call, so I really have to make things easy for me. And here it is. It's like not groundbreaking. If agents aren't selling apps, they're not making money. And if you have a job that you're not making money at, you're unhappy. It's that simple. No apps, no money, no happiness. And that's the same for you guys on this call. It's like, if you got up every day and went to work and didn't make any money, you would be unhappy and you would quit. So as leaders, I think we need to identify, like, who do we have that is not producing, and let's make them happy. Like, let's lead just like my manager did and take me from 0 to a record-breaking agent. And we can't do that on our own. And I think that's, Tony, when you talk about like giving credit to my team, is like, that team is why we're successful today.
Go inside. Hey, great, Jeremy, great answer. And I appreciate that. Guys, just so you guys are clear, this guy's a legend in the business, 70 million average per year. If you just do 10% of that, you can see the kind of personal revenue. Now he's a partner now, but if he wasn't a partner, that's a significant amount of revenue to him and his family. I'm sure there's questions out there. Go ahead and shoot away, because this guy's got some nuggets. I'm sure if Jeremy was on the circuit, he could probably charge $10,000, $15,000 an hour what he's sharing today. So guys, please, questions, go ahead and shoot away.
Jeremy, I have a question.
Hi, Jeremy. This is Cynthia. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Jeremy, can you give us your 30-second elevator speech for recruiting?
So who's my audience?
Let's just say, like you said, you can go to McDonald's and do this. Let's just say people on the street, you're in stores, you're in the mall, you're walking around, you're grabbing something to eat. Maybe someone that's working behind a counter somewhere that you know they're making minimum wage.
So we're talking about somebody who's never been an agent. So Tony heard the other day on the phone that, like, I'm so passionate about what I do that sometimes a 30-second answer that you need is going to turn into 4 minutes with me, because I absolutely love what I do. My message is this, is like, hey, are you happy with what you're doing? Is this your dream job and where you plan to be 5 years from now? Do you see yourself behind the counter at McDonald's in 10 years? I'm going to let them answer, like, no. Well, would you be interested in getting information on a career that changed my life? So for me, like, I don't have a pitch. I just have what happened, like what's true. And Tony, just so that my wife doesn't think I'm hiding money from her, as much as I wished I made 10% of our total revenue, I do not. So if she hears this video, she's going to be like, hey, you have some explaining to do. But
yeah. Well, I'm just saying, if you were independent, that's what it would be. But you're a partner with integrity, so we don't get overrides commissions, Jeremy. So I did put that disclosure out there so your wife didn't get you in trouble. But if you were independent from integrity, doing 70 million at an override of 10%, that'd be pretty incredible.
Yeah. And you know, Tony, listen, as much as I give a message of like, hey, you should do more and seize the opportunity, here's the honest truth. Here's like me shooting you straight. We should be doing 100 million. You know, listen, I heard Sean Mike say this. I thought it was amazing, is what we do is not hard. Like, we give someone something they have to have. Think about this. So you told me your primary audience here on this call is like Medicare Advantage, PDP. I mean, just stop for a second and think about this, okay? There are people that make a living selling $1,000 vacuum cleaners to a 70-year-old lady, a 60-year-old. Like, it's a vacuum cleaner that they don't need. We are in a business that when someone turns 65, if they don't buy what you're selling, they are penalized by the federal government for not having credible coverage and not taking your plan. So stop and like break this down and say, oh my gosh, the policies that I sell, my target consumer has to buy them legally. I mean, like, we all know that people can be on group plans, and you could say, yeah, well, what about the person on retirement? Yeah, well, like they're not our audience, right? So let's move on past them. But go find somebody that turns 65 and says, you know what, I don't want a prescription drug plan. I only take 2 meds. And you're like, yeah, but if you don't take one, you're going to be penalized when you do take one. I mean, how hard is that? Like, what we do is not hard. People need what we have to have. And so when I look at 70 million or, 65 million, whatever the number is, it's like, I'm in a business where people have to have what I'm offering. And I'm only doing this. Like, I should be doing 200 million. So I love that it's a great number, and it's really great just depending on who looks at it. But we should be doing more than we're doing now.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Cynthia, you have a question.
Yes. Hi, Jeremy. I also had a Jeep Wrangler. So
yeah, mine was a rag top. So it was super loud when I was driving down the highway.
No, his name is Jason. So, but anyway, I just wanted to say that I was really inspired by the story that you shared earlier. And my takeaway was just never to give up, because if he had never given up and stayed in, his worth would have been higher. So that was definitely a testimony to never give up. And I'm a new agent, so I'm really excited. I understand the policy side of Medicare. I've been in healthcare for like 10 plus years. So now selling it is a little different for me. So I'm going to learn that. But I really appreciate what you were able to share today. So thank you.
Yeah. And listen, I would tell you that whether you're new or a veteran agent, that this is an amazing business. And I shared with Tony, the reason that I love this business so much is because it changed my life. There's nothing about my life that is the same today as it was 20 years ago. And I think one of the struggles that I shared with Tony the other day is that, like, I know what it did for me and my family. I know how everything that I ever hoped for 22 years ago, more has happened. And so when I go to work every day, when I talk to people, it's like, Cynthia, I want that for you. I want you to tell your story 20 years from now to someone and say, this business changed my life. But what's tough about it is, like, oftentimes I care more about that than you do. Like, I see this opportunity and I see what you can be. I can see how your life can change, but I need you to buy into that. And Cynthia, I don't mean you specifically. I just, general, this conversation is like, believe you can be amazing, because as soon as you believe that, you can be, and that's all in your hands.
Yes. Thank you.
So Tony, when I get my daughter to shoot this over to me, I'm going to shoot you a picture of it so that you can have it. I think if I'm doing this right, it looks like Ken Daniels has a question. Am I doing that right? No?
Sorry about that, Jeremy. I was on mute.
I see a little hand raised here. All right, Tony, I'm sorry.
Yes. Hey, I was trying to unmute my line. I rarely speak on these calls because I just absorb the information that's given. It's so great and grand, and I appreciate Tony for bringing you on. But I had to say something today since you're a fellow Arkansan, and I'm originally from Arkansas. So I wanted to say thanks. Great job. I appreciate it, and makes me proud to see another Arkansan on here. But again, this was so informative, just appreciative to that Ronald Wayne story. It just, these kind of things just invoke us to go higher and go harder. Thanks.
Tony, I don't want to tell you how to run your business. Obviously, you're amazing at it. But one thing that I think I would ask maybe for this team is kind of like, hey, I jumped on, shared some information, so maybe you could do me a favor. Is we all need to say out loud what our goals are. We need to sort of speak them into existence to someone that can hold us accountable. And so, what I would love to see is everybody on this call, in the next hour, be really thoughtful on like what your next 30 days looks like. So AEP is coming, right? and this is our World Series, our Super Bowl, our Wimbledon, whatever you want to call it. This is the time where 40% of all of the business in the Medicare space is done in this little 45-day window. The revenue that you make is tremendous in this time, but the opportunity, the window's closing. And so, Tony, we have blackouts, we have things that stop us from recruiting, but maybe we could ask everybody on your team to shoot you or Michael, or however your process is, something that says, hey, between today and October 1st, or today and September 15th, here is how many agents I'm going to bring in, and throw that out and put it out, hold accountable. And then maybe you guys could circle back with your team and say, hey, your goal was 40 agents in the next 2 months. And so you're on track. Way to go. Let people know, listen, finish lines exist because people need to see how close they are so they can give this effort at the end when they don't have anything left to give. And so I think that would be really great if that works for you and your team, for them to be able, your recruiters, to be able to say, hey, here's what I'm going to do in the next 45 days.
I have a question. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for sharing your information. But with everybody out here right now as agents, all trying to recruit, we're all trying to recruit agents, either top agents or new agents, what would make your story, or how would you approach it where you will have agents come to your organizations versus another organization? What would you say to an agent out there that's successful, want to join your team, whether they're already established or a new agent? How would you approach that?
So really great question. And let me ask you a question. In the last 24 months, and I'm just throwing out a time frame, has there been anything that you've reached out to someone for? Maybe it's a home improvement, maybe it's you want to buy a car, and they never called you back. Has that happened to you? Maybe not the last 2 years, but just any time that you can remember. Have you ever tried to get your propane tank filled or get a new roof, and you called and they didn't call you back?
Yes.
So we live in a society today where when someone calls you back, the first thing that you say is, thanks for calling me back, right? Like, we've gotten to a point where the level of, I don't know if the word is service or the level of just caring about people's job is so bad that you can call people to get a new roof, to get new gutters, whatever it is. And I'm using that because I'm in the process of a home remodel. People don't call you back. Like, you're literally begging people to do work for you, right? And then you see the other end of that is Chick-fil-A, right? You go to Chick-fil-A and it is like the most amazing service of any business you've ever seen. And you think about that difference, right? And so here's what I would say is the answer. Used to, in 1950, 1960, right? People did a great job. I wasn't around, but they don't call it the greatest generation of all time for no reason. But people did a great job because they just wanted to do a great job. Like, their word was important to them. They operated off of handshakes, and that's gone today. That's not who people are. Like, it's what benefits me and my family the most, and how can I get the most out of something for the least in return? So you have to expect that that's the way the vast majority of people operate. And so the sad reality is, for people to think that you're exceptional, you only have to be average nowadays, right? You return your phone calls, you provide great service, and people say things like, man, it's really great to work with you. Thanks so much for taking care of me. And my response is, I'm just doing my job. Don't thank me for calling you back. That's what I'm supposed to do. And so if I'm talking to somebody and I'm recruiting, there's two things that I would key in on. Number one, integrity has proprietary pieces that no one else has, right? You want to do a compliant call recording starting October 1st, Medicare Center is your answer, right? So you have two choices. Do a compliant enrollment starting 10/1 by recording it, or don't, right? Well, Don't's not an option if this is your business. Being compliant is the only option. So what's the solution that we're going to present to agents? It's Medicare Center. We have an all-in-one record and store option that allows agents to be compliant in their MA enrollments. No one else has that I know of. So that's one message that I would pitch. But the other message is like, are you happy with where you're at right now? Do they return your phone calls? Do they give you the support you need? If they don't, let me make you happy. The short answer is be exceptional. Be somebody that you want to work with.
Great answer.
Tony, how am I doing on time? I think you wanted me to talk for like 15 minutes and I blew this whole thing up for you. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, I have a question. It might be one of the simplest answers or could be one of the most complex. In the process of recruiting people, I've run across different people that have had extreme amount of talent, but just not focused. And they're the type of person that you'd like to recruit because the skill set's there, the abilities is there, the desires there, the hustle is there. But they're so scrambled and focused. What would your approach be to something like that?
Man, you just listed out like my dream agent, talented hustle. I'm like, oh man, I love that. You've learned by now about me. I'm a storyteller. I think that I try to relate everything to real world. And so I think about my three kids and how they grew up in the same house with the same parents and the same resources, but they're all three so different. You know, one of them I can look at and it just breaks them down and they're like, I'm sorry, Dad. And then the other one has to be handled completely different. But the key is that you find out as a good leader what it is that motivates that person. And if they're as good as you just described, then they're worth investing the time to help them be successful. And so, you know, over the years, we've had agents that vary so much in the way they do things and the way they respond to things. They may be one agent who's at this end of the spectrum that is going to get up, make sales, tell you, hey, don't ask me what my goals are because I'm going to do the best I can every day. Then you have an agent over here that is so good at what they do, but they just need someone to sort of kickstart them every day. And so we call them every morning. We're like, hey, are you up? Are you ready? Maybe we're lining out a stack of lead cards and saying, we need you to call these. And I know if Robert's still on the call, he can attest to this. Like we give an agent 10, 15, 30 lead cards. And Robert's like, I'm going to call you back Tuesday to make sure you've set them. And Tuesday when he calls and they're not set, Robert's going to say, in an hour, I need you on the phone with me. I'm going to set them with you and we're going to get you in front of some people. So I think it's the same idea that you see like in sports. My kid asked me the other day if Tom Brady would have still been the greatest quarterback of all time if he had played for a different team. And we'll never know that answer, but I would probably say no. I mean, for as great as Bill Belichick is or was, still is, Tom Brady is a product of everything that was around him, right? His receivers, his linemen, and he no doubt was and is incredibly talented, or he wouldn't be in the conversation of the greatest of all time. But the key is Tom fit well in Belichick's system. And so I think you need to have this system that's like more than just, hey, I need you to make sales, because we all need our agents to make sales. If it were that easy, like I wouldn't even, you wouldn't need to be a recruiter. Like Tony could just hire 100,000 agents and say, hey, we need you to make sales. And they go, oh, Tony needs sales. Yeah, we'll make that happen. Mm-hmm. But we have to sit down, invest, figure out what drives that agent, because money doesn't drive everybody. Some people are motivated by recognition, bonuses, trips, money. You know, I don't know, back to this $1,000 bonus deal Tony didn't share with me. It's none of my business, but I think it's absurd that there's $1,000 bonus to recruit an agent that writes 10 apps. I can tell you I wouldn't do it. But as crazy as that bonus is, like I said earlier, I feel like you guys probably are just dominating that. There's so much money to do that. But like I would love to know, I don't need to know, it's not my business, but like how many of you have taken advantage of that? Because if the answer is you've done it 0 times, then money doesn't motivate you. I mean, so I think that maybe it is a complex answer, but it's really about like, how do you put this agent in a system that makes them successful? And the reality is, if you don't, like if everything you just described is this agent is hardworking, a hustler, talented, incredibly good sales guy, but can't sell, that agent's going to go somewhere else. And that agent's going to fit into a system. Tom Brady was like the 7th round pick. And Robert's a football guy, so he'd know like probably what pick Tom Brady was. But that means that every team in the NFL passed on Tom Brady, 7 times except for New England. And so when you think about that, is like, if you can't make that agent work out and they're that good, they're going to work out somewhere else, and it's going to burn you up when that agent writes, 200, 300 apps a year and you miss that.
Thanks for
Thank
those
you, Jeremy.
words.
Any other questions, guys? Because this is amazing, extremely valuable information. Jeremy's given a lot of nuggets.
That wasn't just a nugget, that was a boulder. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Thanks, Quincy.
And I would ask you guys, and I'm not here to browbeat anybody. He asked it in a good question. How many of you guys have taken advantage of? How much bonus money did you get for those $1,000? It is absurd what we're offering. No one in the industry is doing that. How many have you recruited? And Jeremy, I wouldn't want to tell you how many have taken advantage of it because you'd be shocked. That to me could have revolutionized people's business. And the good thing is, Jeremy, we extended it till the end of the year. And to me, it's incentivizing people to help change someone's life. I mean, 10 sales is nothing, but to get $1,000, and by the way, Jeremy, there's no cap to that. No cap. You can get 10,000 a month, 50,000 a month, 100,000. What is no cap? So even if a guy recruited an entire group of say 50 agents, that's $50,000. $50,000. Isn't that incredible? And you'd be shocked, Jeremy, if I told you how many people are taking advantage of that. And my goal is perfectly people will take what you've shared and falls in good ground. I pray for it that they will see the light in what you shared, along with John Whitmore and Jamal Muhammad and many others we've had join our meetings. It's incredible what we're offering, and it's so mind-boggling how powerful what we offered. And if everyone took advantage of that, they would have all the co-op money they need. I mean, everybody on this call could be making an extra 10, 15, 20,000 a month just for doing their job. And that's not, by the way, they get to keep the override too, Jeremy. They get to keep the override. So the average override's like, anywhere from $80 to say $150. They get the override too. Isn't that pretty incredible?
So Tony, I know your guys got to go, and I don't mean to take up so much time, but we've been working with agents, and it's such an awesome job. I love what I do. But for years we would reach out to agents. We'd be like, we're setting appointments for an agent, and we always would want to know what the result was. So you call, and I'm just going to make this up. I don't know any specifics, but it's like, hey, how'd you do at your 10 o'clock appointment? And the agent might say, well, they told the caller that they didn't want to talk to anybody, so I couldn't sell it. And you hear all these excuses, like, whatever they are. They didn't want to write a check today because they didn't know me. And I came across this agent that joined our team. Tremendous agent. It's like credible work ethic. And he was reporting a lead to me one day, and he said something I'd never heard before. He said, I missed that deal. And I'm like, oh yeah, what was wrong with it? He said, oh, nothing. I just blew the sale. Like, I should have done a better job. And so I was like, it totally caught me off guard. And I said, and this is kind of where I get this idea that you need to take responsibility for your failures so you can take responsibility for your successes. But that's what he told me. He said, in order for me to be able to take the credit for my sale, I have to be able to take responsibility for my failure. So it's this idea that if you set me 5 appointments today and I sell 3 of them, then I sold those. But if I sold 0, it's your fault the leads are bad, right? You can't have that. It's one or the other. It's either you sold because we gave you great leads, or you failed because we gave you bad leads. But it can't be you failed because the leads were bad, but you succeeded because you did that. And so when you talk about this bonus and like who got it and who didn't, I think that this is why I said in the beginning that it's not about the leads. It's not about the bonuses. Like none of that matters, because my best guess is that if you took that bonus and you said, I'm going to make it $2,000, then the same people that didn't capitalize won't. And the people that did will, right? It's not a bonus thing. It's this idea that like they just made a choice that I'm just not going to do it. And so I don't think that's bad. I think people get offended and they're like, well, who's he talking to? He doesn't know me. Like I work hard. Like I don't care. I mean, I don't mean that bad, but like whether your guys recruit 100 agents today, 100 next month, or 100 in their career, it changes 0 about my work ethic and what I do. But I think that what my hope is on this call is that nobody sees me and says, oh man, like he thinks he knows everything, or who's this guy think he is saying this? It's like, just stop and just examine what you've done in the last 30 days and be honest with yourself. You don't have to tell anybody. Like you don't have to go to your wife or your husband or you, Tony, and say, yeah, Tony, I let you down. But just like, because it's you that have to make that change. Like nothing. Listen, if I had the ability to say something that just went like, boom, all of a sudden I'm going to work hard, then I probably could charge more than $15,000 an hour. That would be awesome. But no matter what I say, it starts with you. And so I think that that's just where I would look at. I would get off this call and honestly, I wouldn't worry about the bonus. I wouldn't worry about how many agents I need to recruit. I would worry about like, where am I at? Like, what can I do to make a change?
Thank you, Jeremie. Jeremie, I appreciate your time and everything that you shared this morning, man. I totally blown away. Very impressed with your humility and also on top of all that you've accomplished. I mean, you gave some amazing nuggets today. Can you guys give a woohoo and an applause for what Jeremie shared? Because he did a super job. Can y'all do that for me, please?
Great stuff, Jeremy. Yeah.
Thank you.
Man.
And guys,
Thank
this
you.
will be available to you guys to listen to. Mike will put that together. And as we wind down, and again, this is why I want to share why I joined the Integrity Marketing Group family, because we got people like Jeremie that willing to help us. Didn't charge me a dime, didn't ask for anything, not even a dinner or lunch. He said, I'd be honored to help your team, because ultimately he wants us all to win. You know, we're part of an amazing family, and I just never seen anything like it. And that's why I'm so honored to be, part of what Brian Adams created for all of us. And you guys can share in the success too. You know, if Jeremie can do it and John Whitmore can do it and many others, Sean, Mike, and I mean, there's many others that have just changed their life and changed other people's lives. You guys can do it too. I've said this, Jeremie, to my team many times. We got some of the most talented Medicare Advantage salespeople and leaders in the industry. There's a reason why Brian wanted to partner with us, because we're damn good. You know, we just need to get people out of that comfort zone and expand what is possible. Because many of our people in this car are making $250,000 a year in renewals. You know, that's a lot of money for most people. You know, and some people, that's all they need. And then my thing is to challenge people. Well, help 50 other people get that. Help just 5 people get to that level that you're at. That's what leadership is about. Is bringing the best out of others that are following your lead. You know, and so, I mean, there's guys on this call and young ladies on this call, Jeremie, they can literally write books on Medicare Advantage. They know more than, I believe, than some CMS reps and some reps at the company. I mean, some of my people, Jeremie, actually teach reps at some of the carriers how to do it. It's pretty impressive, Jeremie. If you only knew the gifted and talented team that we have here. I just want to see them embrace what you share and expand to another level. So again, Jeremy, any final last words before we move on? Because I want to make sure we wrap up shortly.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna get out of your hair, but you said something I think everybody should hear, which is like you got some people making 250 a year, or what maybe it's 100, and that revenue is sort of the Achilles heel of everybody, because at some point you get comfortable. But the one thing I think that's critical for everyone to understand is it's really simple. Ray Kroc, who is kind of the founder of the McDonald's that we know today, he said something I learned a long time ago. It's that if a company's not growing, it's dying, right? Your business is not staying the same. You're growing or you're not. And so the 250 that you're making today, like I'm a long-term guy. So just keep in mind, guys, that if you're not adding agents and growing that business, that 250 is going to be 225. That 100 is going to be 80, and then that's going to be 65. So you need to look forward. Like this finish line, like I talked about, is forget where you are today. Like I've never worried about today. Where do you want to be in 5 years? Because what you're doing today, like the money you make today has nothing to do with what you did last month. You're where you're at today because of what you did 5 years ago, or 3 years ago, or 2 years ago. So what you're doing now, like if you got a big fat paycheck and you're like, this is awesome, and you're not doing anything, that fat paycheck's not going to be fat in 2 or 3 years. So just keep that in mind.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, guys.
All right, guys. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.